Gary Johnson and Bree Chester at home. Gary, let's start with Dylan Phillips, signed for the rest of the season. From your perspective, and hopefully his, presumably a no-brainer.
Fantastic news that we was able to secure it nice and early. So we haven't got to faff around trying to get another goalie sort of at the last minute. But all the signs were good. I know Charlton are pleased with his progress here. We're pleased with his progress. He's done great. He's getting first team games, and while he's getting that experience for a 20-year-old, that's going to be good for all three parties. And he's been a fantastic goalkeeper for us. He's certainly made those match-winning saves that we all like to see, because if you've got a match-winning goal striker, then you need a match-winning goalkeeper sometimes, because at all levels they're going to have to make saves at some stage. And although he made the one mistake the last game, he doesn't make too many mistakes, and he's a solid goalkeeper. Good personality around as well for a 20-year-old. Very good personality. He's exactly my profile of a goalkeeper.
Was the only risk if Charlton actually had a situation that they needed him and wanted to call him back? I suppose that was about the only thing you couldn't control in this situation, wasn't
it? Yeah, it is, and that always remains the same with loan players. But the important thing is all parties agree that it's good for him, that it's going well for him, and that the player's happy. So that's really what everybody's got to worry about, and then we'll worry about any eventualities when they arise later on.
Of course, you signed 3 keepers at the start of the season. Is Dylan being pushed harder behind the scenes than we see?
Yeah, he is. Callum Kitsker is, he had a problem with his family, so he had to have a couple of weeks sorting that out. He's now come back and he's looking very strong. Reece is still a little bit inexperienced yet, but he's getting his training. He's going from a boy into a man, and he's going to be a very good goalkeeper. But he needs the goalkeeping expertise of Bookie to work with him. He needs to be around it. He needs to be around the dressing room. He just needs to grow into a more confident person. He's a very good goalkeeper. And at the moment, Callum's the number 2, and what keeps a number 1 on his toes is if the number 2 is decent, and he is.
First week in December, second half of the season starts here.
Yes, and if we have the same success we've had in the first half, then we're going to be very, very close. To go through half the season with only 2 defeats in the league is very good. We got the required number of points that you need in a first half of the season, and now we got to really concentrate and focus on making sure we don't blow the second half of the season. We've got to make sure that we stay absolutely focused and absolutely sure that we're going to stay there, and everyone's got to believe we can, but they've also got to make sure we do, and that means you have to look after yourself over the Christmas period. You have to enter into our commitment, and they've all entered into it, but it's not just for half a season, it's for the full season.
You gave the players 10 out of 10 for the first half of the season last week. Are you the sort of manager who wants his players to keep doing what they're doing, or are you always demanding more from them every time? Can they get better?
Well, they can get better, and you have to demand more all the time, because we've got a lot of young lads in our team that are not that experienced. I mean, Munsey's probably never played 23 games on the trot in his whole career anyway, so he probably haven't played 23 games in his career. There's a lot of players that are still gaining valuable experience. They're learning about their bodies, their fitness, what they need to do during the week, when they're tired, how they're tired, why they're tired. They have to do something about it, and you learn about how you have to prepare for each game. Everyone's sort of a little bit different. Some people need a bit more of a rest, some people like to work hard, and you learn about yourself, and that experience keeps you in good stead for later on. So we will get better, because we can become more consistent. I think that's, lads are at this level because of the consistency levels. They all can play, and they've all got their strengths and weaknesses, but it's bringing out their strengths more often than their weaknesses. So it's the consistency, and we certainly can still be more consistent.
And you've got a chance this weekend to steal a march on the chasing pack.
Yes, we didn't want to be out of the cup. If you're going to be out of the cup, then you use the advantage of trying to get points ahead of your chasing pack. Certainly the Forest Green are just behind us, and if they can see a little bit of a gap, even though they might have a game or so in hand, then it just makes them. They see it as more difficult to catch us because you still got to win that game in hand.
You drew 1-1 at the Diva back in August, a long time ago now. Both teams were still unbeaten at that point. I suppose they've slipped away a little bit since then, but is that sort of that toughness to break down going to be difficult again?
I think so. I think they're a decent group of players that they've got there. I thought they were lively on that day, very lively, and started off very well, if I remember. And we just got to be aware that, again, we're obviously at this moment in time slightly more consistent than they've been over the last 20 odd games. So we need to show what the difference has been between the two teams, between then and now, and why have we got all that, so many more points than them at this moment. But the boys need to go and show that, and if they do, then of course 3 points would be very good for us.
Their chairman's resigned this week. Is that the sort of thing that affects managers and players, or is that actually something that people can put out of their mind from when you're on the playing side?
Well, maybe. I mean, it depends on why he's resigned, I suppose. We don't get the inside view on all these things, but players and the manager, everybody, even if a manager goes or a player moves on, the club always exists. It always carries on, and as I say, it'd be the circumstances really, and I don't know the circumstances. So I'm sure the nature of the game, they come into the team that's top of the league, pride-wise, the manager and the players will want to try and get a result.
How's Danny Wright's abductor?
So how's yours?
Don't even know where mine is.
No. Probably haven't got one. It's okay. It's okay. And it was just a little bit precaution really at the during the game, and we thought that because we had Andreas on the line, we didn't need to push it with Dan. He's played every minute of every game, and he puts in a stint as well. He's putting in a work rate, and he just felt a little slight oops, what's that? So we thought it best to take him off and rest him because he's a big player for us.
So he'll be okay for Saturday. Everyone else okay?
Yeah, I think so. Bart's was the other one he's trained well. Dates probably not at the moment, although he's not a million miles away. So they're the ones that have been involved with the first team that have been injured recently. So I think we'll get two out of 3 back.
Thank you. Good luck.
No problem.
Gary said after last week's game that it would be important to get as many people back from the Forest Green game into the ground for Saturday. I suppose that's still the case now.
Yeah, it is. I've always said you can't drag people to a football match. You know what I mean, and then stop them at the turnstile and say you've got to pay whatever it is. They've got to want to come, and you have to create the team, create the atmosphere, put on a bit of an event, a show like that. The music's involved in that when people, if they feel comfortable that they're at the ground and they're going to listen to good music, see a good football match, see their team working hard. You've got to make people want to come. And after all, we're in the entertaining business. Sometimes you forget that, not you, but sometimes one forgets that. And we owe it to them. But I've been seeing some good signs that the club, I've always done it anyway, but the club now has got very much more closer to its support and the support to the club. And I know, obviously, when you're top of the league, that's a lot easier than when you're bottom of the league. But at the same time, people know and feel when the club's got them at heart, when the club's trying to embrace the supporters towards the football club, and I think I've sort of seen signs on that, and that will enhance the numbers. We let them down a little bit against Forest Green because we didn't really show the attacking prowess that we've showed in previous games. It wasn't a classic game really, because both teams were a bit cagey. One team went long, so the other team has to go long. There wasn't a lot of, but hopefully they'll come back, as I say, and give us a chance and be part of what we're trying to achieve, and a very big part of what we're trying to achieve.
Just finally, you've been a manager a long time. It's currently silly season.
Not too long.
It's currently silly season with lots of managers moving from club to club, and obviously you've probably had an eye on what's happened with the Oval, with your history back there. But teams like Burton Albion might be losing their manager and might think, well, Gary Johnson's doing a good job at Cheltenham.
Yeah, probably do.
Yeah.
I might think that.
How determined are you to see this job through here, having started it?
See the job through, haven't you? It's no one needs to worry about sort of me moving on at this moment. It's unless Man United come into me, or unless my chairman says to me, we've had an offer, we've accepted it, go and clear off. Do you know what I mean? So because they might want the money more than me, I don't know. If in case it's a big offer, but honestly, you don't think, if you start thinking about that and you start looking at whether you're included in the odds checker list or the sack race list, not the sack race, but the list of prospective managers for these clubs. No, I've got past that stage now. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm enjoying the lads as far as they're giving me everything, so I need to give them everything, and we've got to get this club up, and that's really my only focus, I promise you.
Excellent. Thank you.